record. All right. So we are talking about how the Vishesha is important. What is Vishesha? Vritti Vishesha. So Vritti Visheshasya Prakashane, when the Vritti means what? Thought. Thought. When the thought of what? Pot, hat, cat, mat. When the thought lights up, the thought is lights up the object, then there is some action happening there in the buddhi, and that action is a kind of a movement from what? Just a general light of consciousness. There is now a general light of consciousness and a specific light of that thought. And then when we recognize that specific light, the general light comes to understanding. This is what is the opening verse of the 8th chapter of a highly regarded work, very exciting work called the Panchadashi. Khaditya Deepite Kudye Darpanaditya Deeptivat Kutastha Bhasito Dehaha Dhistha Jivena Bhasyate. And what it says is Kha Aditya. Kha is in space. Aditya, the Aditya in space. Aditya means what? Sun. Sun which is in space. Kudya. Kudya means wall. Khaditya Deepite Kudya. So the sun which is in the sky is lighting up the wall, upon which I am using a mirror and having a little pastime. Because in those days there were no movies, no disco, no iPhone, nothing. So this is how one entertained oneself. You have a small handheld, polished, not even a mirror, a polished piece of brass or any metal, and not even like a mercury and all these things which are there in the mirror now. Some shiny surface, polished silver or polished brass. This is how they used to make mirrors. So, and the mirror that is offered to Bhagavan in temples, even now, they will not offer real mirror, that ancient polished brass, Adarsham Darshayami, they will say. And so, this mirror, I just go like this. Where? In my hand. And what is it doing? The sunlight which is falling on the wall is also falling on what? The mirror. Correct? How many suns? Only one sun. Huh? Thank God. So that one sun has a general light which the whole wall is lit up because of which. All right. On that general light, we have a dancing light, because I am playing here with a handheld mirror. So it's showing that the light is dancing according to the movements of the hand. If I go fast like this, it will dance. The orb will become very, very shaky. And sometimes just for fun, I will go slowly. I will go slowly like this. And then it will move slowly where? On that same wall. So now the presence of the light of the mirror in the form of the orb is seen where? On that wall which is already lit up. Okay, so we have first the general light, and then we have the specific light. So similarly, in the buddhi, there is the availability of the general light of consciousness. What is that? Guhanihitatvam Brahma, that which has entered. But its entry is taken for granted. Like supposing if this plaything in my hand was not there, if this mirror was not there, what would I have appreciated the light on the wall? No, absolutely not. Why? Because I would have taken it for granted. Because there is nothing exciting happening. There is no movement. It's not doing anything interesting. It simply is. And a wall is the most boring thing. That's why it has been taken here as an example. Who gives the time of day for a wall? Nobody. That to some compound wall, brick wall. So the brick wall is just there. I look at it and nothing happens. But then on the brick wall, there is maybe one and maybe two mirrors dancing. Or let's say just one, keep it simple, one mirror dancing. And then, then I pay attention to the wall. Then it is easy for anybody to direct my attention to the wall upon which the orb is dancing. Then the wall I can appreciate as a adhisthana for what? The dancing mirror. Is there somebody? For the dancing mirror. I can appreciate the wall as an adhisthana for the dancing mirror. So, I can appreciate the adhisthana as the dancing mirror. Because the second thing now, if this much is understood, you have understood the general light and the specific light as it pertains to the example. We have not gone yet to the exemplified. Okay? Yeah, that needs a little more sahasa from my part. So, so now, if this much is understood, we can go further. Without the adhisthana, in this case the backdrop of the wall, will the dancing light be perceived? If I put the mirror like this in space somewhere where there is no surface, it will just get lost. Same thing happens. If you take a flashlight and go like this on the space, unless it's a very powerful searchlight like they have to advertise some mela or something like that, come here and see what's happening, sometimes they do that. But if it's just a handheld flashlight, its light is totally absorbed by space. So we need an adhisthana upon which the dancing light depends. And the dancing light not only draws attention to itself because it is so cute and moving and doing all kinds of fun things, it also points to the adhisthana. It points to the adhisthana. Okay. How does it point to the adhisthana? Because that is where it is dancing. Adhisthana, please do not translate, at least in my lifetime, as substratum. Yeah, okay. Afterwards, you can do whatever you want. But in my lifetime, please do not translate it as what? Substratum. Because sub means what? Underneath. So then we have to look for Brahman underneath like this. So therefore, adhisthana, what is the translation of for adhisthana? If substratum has been rejected, what is the translation for adhisthana? Adhisthana. That is the translation. There is no translation. Basis we can say when we are in a crunch. That's all. Only once or twice in the whole hour you can say basis. Because otherwise it has no basis, really. Adhisthana is certain things you cannot translate. And prasada. How are you going to translate prasada? Prasada. That's all. Adhisthana. That's all. Just get used to it. And the reason why it is translated as substratum, I'll tell you that also, because adhi means what? Above, over. Sthana, adhi, it stands over. So whatever is there is underneath, that is how it is. But adhisthana doesn't mean substratum. Because again, we make that mistake of something is below, something is above, and both of them belong to the same order of reality. This is why we don't translate that word. You can say basis, or better still, content, truth. This is a better translation. What is the truth? Truth means that which is non-negatable. So the wall light is non-negatable. The wall light does not come to light because I'm used to it all the time. I'm used to passing on that road, seeing that wall, let us say 100 times, and I'm not paid any attention to it. The reason I pay attention to it is because something is dancing on it. If this much is understood, let us go to, this is the Drishtanta, which opens the 8th chapter of the Panchadashi, which we have made a little trip, a field trip to Panchadashi, and now we are coming back to here. So then when we unpack this Drishtanta, this example, we have what is called Darshtanta. And what is Darshtanta? That which is exemplified. And what is that which is exemplified? That which is exemplified means we have to then see what is Kudyasthaniya. What is it that occupies the corresponding place occupied in the example by the wall? What does it translate to in the exemplified? And what is this orb light, mirror light? How to transfer that into the what we are trying to exemplify? So the wall, the fully lit wall, which is what? Nirvikara. It doesn't have anything happening there. It is uniformly lit. It's not that one part there is more light, another part it is dark. We shouldn't imagine like that. It's a full-on sunlit wall. And so that is what? Buddhi. What kind of a buddhi? Buddhi in which there are no thoughts. Just briefly, usually, even as soon as you say, aha, I'm enjoying a no thought moment, that itself is a thought. Finished, gone, correct? And so the buddhi, the buddhi, we shouldn't even say buddhi without thoughts. What should we say? We should be very careful here. We should say buddhi that is lit up by what? Chaitanya. So, buddhi lit up by Chaitanya. That is what is the wall. That is what is symbolized by the wall. Now the fun starts. The orb light dancing is the vritti. The presence of the vritti draws my attention to the adhisthana. It draws my attention to the Chaitanya. Why? Why does the presence of the buddhi draw my attention to the Chaitanya? Because vritti is kshanika, momentary. Vritti knows how to dance. It knows also how to sing, but it knows how to dance. It knows how to move. It moves. First, there is vritti of hat, then that changes into vritti of cat, mat, rat, bat, so many things. Or if you want to put it in Sanskrit, what do you say? Ghata, pata, matha. Hat, cat, rat. Okay? Doesn't mean the same thing, but just some rhymey things. So ghata, pata, matha. Like this. And so, when the vritti comes, vritti dances, and then vritti goes away. But we don't need the vritti really, but actually we do need the vritti. What does the vritti do? The vritti brings our attention to this general light. Now, now go back to the example. Just like in the example, the wall which was lit by the sun is not dependent upon the orb to reveal it. Can we say that the wall that is lit, already lit wall, is dependent upon the orb of light the mirror light is revealing the wall? No. The mirror light is making it easier to see, aha, there is a wall and that is also lit up. It's making it easier to see that. That is all it is doing. And then same thing here, the presence of the vritti is not bringing Chaitanya to light. Because if we say that, then vritti is what? Mithya. Then we'll think that mithya is dependent, satyam is dependent upon mithya. No. The vritti is not illumining consciousness, but what is it? It is just the presence of the vritti is making me, is not even making the buddhi do anything. It is making me, who? The jignasu, the desirer of knowledge, understand that the buddhi is a place where consciousness is or has entered, as it were. This is what it is making me aware. Is this much understood? Yes? Yeah, no, the Adhishtanam is Chaitanya. Yeah, Chaitanya. So then, what is so here? So now it is the see. So this is what he means by Sannikarsha. Let us look at the Bhashya. So the word Sannikarsha comes. Sannikarsha means proximity. Somewhere it was there. Now it has gone. Where did it go? Vijnana Guha तत् ब्रह्म स्वरूप अवगमाय च आकाशादि सन्निकर्षात् आत्म 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 प्रकाशत्वात् or something like that it was there. हाँ अवभासा आत्मकत्वात् च. Where is that? I am not finding it. Maybe it's I should go to 283. Yeah. So Vishesha, yeah, Vishesha Sambandha Nirvisheshatvat Nahi Anyatra Upalabhyate Brahma. Brahman is not available anywhere else. Yeah, it was in the next page. So then we saw all that. Then he gives two hetus. Why this is the case? Evam Antahkarana Guha Sambandha Brahmana Upalabdhi Hetuhu. So the cause for the gain of the Brahman where in the Antahkarana is again connected to Vishaya. The Nirvishaya, Nirvishesha, Nirvishesham Brahma is as though coming to light because of the presence of the Vishesha. I am recognizing this Nirvishesham Brahma. Just like Rahu is dependent on what? The Chandra or Surya for its being. So then he says, why Sannikarshat? Sannikarshat means due to the proximity of the vritti. The vritti has proximity. This Sannikarsha argument, there are two arguments. Avabhasamanakatvacha. So Sannikarsha means what? In the Antakarana, there is what? Presence of Brahma Chaitanya is already established. Even before the Indriyas objectify an object. Indriya Sannikarsha is there. The Indriyas are proximate to the object and then they light up the object, and that lit up object shines in the buddhi. When the lit up object shines in the buddhi, then what happens? It is specifically gives, it specifically points to the Brahma Chaitanya, which is already in the buddhi when? All the time. So in the Antahkarana, there is the presence of Satchit Atma, Satchidananda Atma already there, even before it objectifies. And so then, so this is the Sannikarsha argument. Sannikarsha means proximity. So now, now when the organs, sense organs, objectify, let's say, a pot, then that pot, where is it recognized? In the buddhi alone. So two kinds of closeness or proximity is there. The eyes are close to the pot, meaning there is a direct line of objectification there, and then that same objectification happens and very close to Antahkarana Chaitanya. That Chaitanya that is shining in the buddhi also helps to objectify the pot. How? That is the orb light, pot light. The light of consciousness in the form of pot helps to what? Helps us to see that in the Antakarana Brahman is already as though entered. Does that make sense? Understood? Yes? No? Okay. So then if this is understood, so really speaking, you don't require any particular vritti, but then every vritti implies the presence of Atma Chaitanya. Every vritti. It just points. Now, that's point number 2. Third point, this Tikakara brings this. Tikakara brings this out. And what does he say? That the Brahma Chaitanya, which is like the general light on the wall, which is always present, and then the Vritti Avachinna Chaitanya, which is what? Like the mirror light, which is creating patterns and diagrams and movements on the wall that is still and free of all movement. What is the difference between the two? No difference. Why? Let us go back to the example. Both of them are lit by what? Same sun. Same sun. This is what is this is the next argument. What? Avabhasa manakatvat. This is the next argument. Sannikarshat we have finished. We have talked about Sannikarsha. So there is Indriya Sannikarsha. There is a proximity of the Indriyas to the Indriyas are also what? Lit by the Chaitanya, which is where? In the Buddhi. And they specifically objectify the Ghata and bring the information back where? To the Buddhi, and then the Buddhi lights up the Ghata. Just like the small orb that is lighting up. And the Buddhi is pervaded by Chaitanya consciousness, and that general consciousness is there, and the specific pot consciousness is also there, both of them sitting quote unquote side by side. And the pot awareness makes me understand that there is awareness already in the Buddhi. Meaning, we are all talking about what? Entry. That means it's already there. Guhanihitatvat. It has already entered. So if it was not there, then it would not be able to objectify the pot. Okay? Huh? Wouldn't be recognized also. It would not even be there. How would it, if it is not there, how would it be recognized? And so then this is something which is again very interesting. So then from this proximity argument, we go to the avabhasamana argument, because he gives two hetus. Sannikarshat avabhasamanakatvat cha. Is that there or am I making it up? It's there. Okay, good. So then avabhasamanakatvat, the light argument, first is the proximity argument. The proximity of the cognized pot, specific, the consciousness in the form of cognized pot, leads me to understand there must have been the nirvishesham brahma, the consciousness without any form, already in the buddhi. Already has entered the buddhi. That is why the proximate pot can be objectified by me. This is proximity argument. Then the second argument here is called the lighting up argument, because again we go back to the orb example. So the light of the the light of the orb on the wall helps me to understand that the wall is also lit. Correct? So similarly, this is the example. Now we go to the exemplified. Similarly, the light of the vritti vishishta chaitanya. Vritti vishishta chaitanya means the chaitanya consciousness that is in the form of a thought or perception. Perception of what? Let us just say, keep it simple, pot perception. So the thought in the form of pot perception, when I look at it, when I look at pot, the pot shines in my awareness. I say that. I say it in so many words. The thought shines in my awareness. The pot shines in my awareness. So, Chaitanya Vishishta Vritti. A vritti that is lit up by Chaitanya, ironically and paradoxically, is doing what? Lighting up the very Chaitanya which lit it up. As though. We have to say as though. This is fun. So this is the avabhasamanakatvam argument. There is, the Tikakara goes into a little more detail. I'm wondering if, I should give you a headache or not. So upalabdhi hetu sannikarshat avabhasamanakatvacha antakaranyasya. No, I will not give you a headache, because he goes into colors, and this is not pertinent for us. So if this much is understood, now what happens? Now the pot has lit up, the pot is lighted up by Chaitanya. Chaitanya, which has as though taken the form of the pot. Consciousness, awareness, free of all forms and names, has as it were taken the form of the pot. And where is it? It is in the buddhi, which is what? Chaitanya, which is flooded by Chaitanya. And then what do I say? I say, now this being a perception of an object, I say, I know pot. And so now there was one wall, there is one mirror. Now I am a magician, I bring out another mirror. Dancing on the same well-lit, sunlit wall. On the sunlit wall there was an object cognition, and in the same place, knower cognition. I am Jnata. Another mirror is playing on the same wall. This is so much fun. Jnata mirror. Okay? And then how do you say you are the knower of the pot? How can you be so foolish to ask me this question? Because I see the pot. How did you see the pot? My eyes saw the pot. Really? So dead man's eyes also see? No. The Chaitanya behind the eyes, the consciousness behind the pramana, which is the eyes, streamed and then went and as though surrounded the pot, flooded the pot, and then brought back the information, this is pot. And then I concluded, me, the Antahkarana Avachinna Chaitanya says, I am the knower, Jnata. Then now the time has come to do a little more magic and bring out the third orb. Shiny, shiny, bling, bling. Very nice. What is the third one? Yes. That pramana, is it ever away from Chaitanya? The third orb, is it ever away from sunlight? The second orb of the mirror, is that ever away from sunlight? No. The first orb, is that away from sunlight? No. Is the sunlight undergoing any change? If you look up, has the sun become small and dim because we are using up a lot of current? No. No. Sunlight has not undergone any change. Has the wall developed cracks because of so many mirrors? No. Is the wall having burn marks because it cannot handle the mirrors? No. It's all a play of lights. So similarly, if this much is understood, we can go to the exemplified. What is exemplified is exactly this, that in that same Chaitanya, which is where has entered, don't forget the pravesha here, the pravesha is the thing which has entered the buddhi. It is a place where it is available, but it is not available just like just like the light on the wall is not available by itself, because I don't appreciate it. I need some object to appreciate that light of consciousness. But then I don't say that the light of consciousness is dependent upon an object, because that will land us in hot water. Why? Because what's the use of Shastra? All I need is some pots. That's all. Because everything is dependent on thought. I need some pots and objects of thought and I'll be fine. Forget the Upanishad. I don't need book. I need pot. So that makes no sense at all. So therefore, what I have to understand is that it's not the object that is bringing the subject to light, but it is the light the light of consciousness, the light of awareness, which is already lit up the object, which is bringing this general Chaitanya's presence, which is making me aware of that awareness itself. So then I look at the pot and I say, this is pot. Who is the one that's saying it? I. And who is this I? The I with reference to the Antahkarana, the Ahankara. And where did the Ahankara become so strong and become alive? Because of Chaitanya. The second orb. Janami titameva bhantam anubhati etat samastam jagat. The whole jagat is lit up this way. Entire jagat is lit up this way. The entire jagat is where? In the buddhi. That is why we say the jagat is in the buddhi. And the jagat being in the buddhi does not displace Chaitanya at all. You don't have to say shoo, shoo, shoo to objects in the jagat in order to know Chaitanya. Just like you don't have to enter a thoughtless state in order to know that you are awareness itself. So even though there are a million orbs shining on this wall, still what? It still it accommodates everything. And yet it is that which supports all the orbs. It is non-separate from the orbs, but the sunlight is not the orb. Orb is dependent upon sunlight. So similarly here we have this Chaitanya, which is Vishishta, as though qualified, as though endowed with what? By a vritti. Vritti Vishishta Chaitanya. Agreed? Yes? Not quite. Because yes and no. Okay, this is Vedanta always. So we spend half an hour building up, and then in 5 minutes you tear it down. And this is what it is. So vritti avachinna or vritti vishishta chaitanya, we can say. It means what? A vritti that is endowed by Chaitanya. And which sounds right. It seems correct. Because what are my eyes? Vritti avachinna. Vishishta by the vritti, the eyes are. Qualified by the vritti. And what are my ears? The pramana. Qualified by the vritti. What is the ahankara? Ahankara avachinna Chaitanya. Qualified by the Chaitanya. And then what is the object? Qualified by the Chaitanya. So all these dancing mirrors are Vishishta, qualified by Chaitanya. That's when we have a head scratching, chin scratching moment. Because what is the substantive and what is the adjective? In the word, this is where we need to go. What is the substantive? But we are saying it is vritti. We are saying it is vritti. Vritti means what? Thought. Vritti means perception. We are saying a perception that is endowed by Chaitanya. So first orb is the object perception. So the object is equipped by, endowed by the light of Chaitanya, just like the orb is endowed by the light of the sun. Then the sunlight orb number 2 is what? I as the knower, jnata. That is also what? Ahankara, I, which is endowed by, qualified by what? Chaitanya. Just like the second orb is also lit by the sun. And the third orb is the manner in which the perception took place or has taken place. Here, meanwhile, let's keep it very simple. Eyes. It's not the eyes that have seen. It is the eyes endowed by the light of consciousness. Again, light of consciousness in heavy quotes. Okay. Everything here is in heavy quotes. And soon we'll have to talk like this. Like this. I'm going to dinner. And yes, going to class. Everything is as though. And so now we talk as though the Chaitanya comes and goes and the vritti is constant. Our language is just completely ready to put in the dustbin. Ah. Even though it goes in when we look at it this way. But really speaking, what is happening? The sunlight, so the mirror is not important, it's the sunlight. It's the same sunlight everywhere. So, Chaitanya Vishishta, Vritti Vishishta Chaitanya means what? A Chaitanya that is qualified by Vritti. It's much better to say that as though rather than Chaitanya Vishishta Vritti. In the latter case, what are we saying? That the Chaitanya comes and goes and the Vritti is constant. Vritti is not constant. What is constant? Chaitanya is constant. This, in short, is the Avabhasa argument. And so here, what do we have? We can have any number of orbs, and each one is just pointing to the Chaitanya alone. This is what he says in the next sentence. Yathacha aloka vishishta ghatadi upalabdhihi. Aloka Vishishta. He also starts with the same argument. So, Ghata, a pot that is well lit. Aloka Vishishta. So, in order to see the pot, what I have to do? I have to find a pot that has light. It should be well lit. If the pot is not lit, can I see it? No. It will not be visible. Aloka Vishishta Ghatadi Upalabdhihi Evam Buddhi Pratyaya Aloka Vishishta Atma Upalabdhihi Syat Tasmat Upalabdhi Hetau Guhayam Nihitam Iti Prakritameva. So, Yathacha, in which manner Aloka Vishishta, qualified by light, not light of consciousness here, just regular light. Ghatadi Upalabdhi Syat. So, Ghatadi Upalabdhi means, Upalabdhi means what? The cognition of the form. The cognition of the form, which is pot in this case, in the example, means what? It implies that the cognized object must have association with light. It should reflect light. So, Ghata Upalabdhi, the cognition of pot is there. You see the pot. Why? Because it is reflecting light. If it doesn't reflect light, can you see the pot? No. That's why in the darkness you don't see any pot. So therefore, there is a light connection there. So therefore, he says, Aloka Vishishta Ghatadi Upalabdhihi. And same thing. And this is where Tikakara comes and says his color also same thing, etc. That's not pertinent. So the shining pot you see because the eyes pick up only things that are lit. So that's why you see the Aloka Vishishta Ghata. That is what you see. You see the pot that is well lit. And this recognition, just like that, implies that the object is reflecting light. This is the example. He gives this example. We gave the wall example. He gives this example. Tatha evam buddhi pratyaya aloka vishishta atma upalabdhi syat. So too, in the buddhi there is a cognition. What is that called? Buddhi pratyaya. A particular vritti is there, thought, which is in the form of the cognition. That thought itself is lit up, because otherwise it cannot be understood. The thought is aloka vishishta vritti. It is connected to the light of consciousness, or it is flooded by the light of consciousness. It's got the light of Chaitanya. So therefore, what this pratyaya, the cognition is aloka vishishta. This is what it is. So meaning, in the same way, the antahkarana vritti is soaked in light, just like the pot outside is bathed in light, which is why it becomes the object of the object for the eyes. Similarly, the antahkarana vritti is non-separate from Chaitanya Atma. And then it is where is this aloka coming from? Buddhi pratyaya, the cognition in the mind. That is what it is. So then That is why I say, I have pot. I have pot. I know pot. So therefore, every vritti is what? Chaitanya Vishishta. Chaitanya Atma Vritti Vishishta. And then, or we can say Vritti is Chaitanya Vishishta, because both of them, there is a oneness. And so whether the, what is substantive, what is, what is an adjective, we have a little problem here. Which is the adjective? Which is variable? Which is invariable? Vritti becomes ultimately what? Variable. And this is what we have to say. And so just like we say, Kale Vishishta Ghata, Mrit Vishishta Ghata. So, but then Mrit is constant. Pot comes and goes. So then this way, this is our Vyavahara, this is how we talk. But then, so long as we understand it, if we say, then the vrittis keep on changing, we have to understand Chaitanya is constant, the light of consciousness does not come and go, but the vritti keeps on changing. So therefore what? The vritti itself is mithya. That's why the vritti comes and goes, but the cognition takes place. I am Brahmaniti cognition takes place. Why? Because the vritti has done its job. And it has pointed to that light on the wall which was constant. And so therefore, there is nihitatvam asti. Nihitatvam means what? In the buddhi, Brahman's presence is already there. It is proven. How is it proven? Because how do I become a jnata? How do I become a knower? How do I say that I know pot? How does the object of knowledge shine? How does how does the bridge that connects the subject and the object together shine? It is all because of this light of consciousness, which undergoes no change, which as though morphs into knower and the known at the same time without any contradiction. How does it do that? Well, we have a local example. This time, no more lights, okay? Enough of lights. This time, ocean. Can the ocean have two waves at the same time? Yes? No? Show some signs of life. Yeah. So, yes, definitely you can have two waves at the same time. Does the appearance of the two waves take away from the ocean? No. Ocean is still ocean. And that ocean appears as wave number 1 and appears as wave number 2 simultaneously, without any contradiction, without any problems, without either at the level of perception or any substantive level either. So similarly, the vritti, that same light of consciousness morphs into I know, I am the knower. And at the same time, it has morphed into what? I am the known. Pot is known. I am the knower of pot. How do I know pot? The eyes here, which saw the pot, the eyes saw the pot. The eyes also are like the third wave, which is on the ocean, which does not take away from the ocean, because it is just an appearance. The wave is an appearance. It waves and then goes away. That's why it's called wave. It's always waving goodbye. And so it goes away. It comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, without creating even a small dent in the oceanness. And so too, jnata, jnanam, jneyam, knower, known, object of knowledge, subject of knowledge, means of knowledge, all these three lights shine in the same buddhi, which is already has the presence of consciousness. So it has the presence of general consciousness, which is not lighting up anything. But then when it is ready to light up something, it morphs into that particular form, so to speak, even though it is formless. And it morphs into that form, not permanently. And Adi Shankara gives this example later, like milk becomes yogurt. And after that you say, I want to have some coffee. Too bad, unless you like yogurt, tea, coffee. Okay, so you can't do that. All right. And so here it's not that kind of a morphing. It is aparinami. It doesn't become the pot. The awareness doesn't become the pot. The awareness doesn't get stuck on the knower. It is just an appearance on that consciousness, and which just goes away. Because I am the knower is also as much a thought as this is a pot. same kshanika. No, but I am the knower seems to last a long time. Yeah, that's because I'm keeping on renewing it. I'm renewing the subscription of I am the knower, I am the knower. I keep it going. Why? Because it gives me a certain status. That's why, and it makes the ahankara feels good. So the ahankara keeps renewing the subscription, just like a library book. Okay, and so this is what happens. And then now it is perfect. Just like Devadatta built a house, here we have the body, mind, sense complex, where in this buddhi, just like Devadatta entered the house, similarly Brahman has already entered. And then Adi Shankara says, Prakritam eva. This Guha Nihitatvam is Prakritam eva. It is already understood. So it was already mentioned. And then he says, Vrittisthani tu. Am I missing anything? Vrittisthani tu iha punaha tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat iti uchyate. Upacharyate. Uchyate means upacharyate. It is plainly figurative. Vritti here doesn't mean vritti. Vritti means the sentence. The meaning that statement. What statement? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. That was, said in the last Janma. Okay. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. That which is known which was already there and recognized where? In the Buddhi. How can you recognize if it is not there? It is already there. That is how you recognize. How? Jnata, Jnanam, Jneyam. Everything is Brahma. Everything is what? Nama Rupa. Anything that is Vishishta, anything that is Visheshana is what? Karya. What kind of Karya? As though Karya. And what is the as though Karana? Brahma Chaitanya. Which is what? The invariable presence in and through all the vrittis. The content of the knower, the truth of the known, the content of the means of knowledge. This is what it is. Vrittisthaniya means this is what it is. So it was already talked about. Tadevam akashadi karanam karyam srishtva, meaning now that which is the cause of akasha, everything, etc. Karyam srishtva, having created this whole universe, tad anupravishtam antarguhayam buddhau, it entered as it were. According to how the Shruti says, it entered the buddhi, entered within heavy quotes. In which form did it enter? Drashtru, Shrotru, Mantru, Vijnatru, iti evam visheshavat upalabhyate. So this nirvishishtam Brahma, this Brahman which is formless, nameless, shapeless, colorless, asparsham, not subject to any pramanas, not objectifiable through any pramanas. How is it lit up? How is it cognized? As drashtru, I am the seer. Shrotru, I am the hearer. As mantru, as the thinker. Vijnatru, knower. Iti evam visheshavat, as though it has vishesha. It doesn't have vishesha. Just like the sunlight, Khaditya Deepite, that Khaditya, the sun in the space doesn't have any, that light of the sun in space doesn't have any form. But here, dancing orb has a form, as though. All right, so similarly here, as though Shrota, as though Drashta, as though Jnata, etc., Visheshavat, as though it has a form, iti upalabhyate. Tadeva tasya praveshah, tadeva tasya tasmad iti, tasmad asti tat karanam brahma. Therefore, this so this finally comes down to this, what is this pravesha? So the pravesha is what? The pravesha is that Brahman which is under discussion, which is the cause for Akasha, etc., from the Akasha or the physical body, mind, sense complex, everything having created as though entered. That means what? It entered how? Just like Devadatta making a house, and entering it as though entered the buddhi. But how is it recognized? Visheshavat upalabhyate. It is always along as though with the Vishesha, the variable Vishesha. If it has a permanent Vishesha, then no perception is possible. Yeah, not possible at all. So it doesn't, then Brahman would become Parinami. Brahman has not become Parinami. Milk has not become curds. Okay, and so therefore, so Vishesha Vat Upalabhyate, that Vat is important. Brahman is available, is not as Satyam Jnanam Brahman. Satyam Jnanam Anantam is not objectifiable. So how is it available? It is available as I am the seer, I am the hearer. That is how it is available, because that is what is objectifiable. And the objectifiable seer, etc. Oh, so Brahman is seer? No. Seer is Brahman, Brahman is not seer. Hearer is Brahman, Brahman is not hearer. And you can do the same drill with all the words there. It's neither seer nor hearer, but it is an as though it has an association with seership, hearership. Visheshavat upalabhyate. This is what it is. You don't have to go beyond the seer, because the truth, the content of the seer is what? Brahman. Yeah, which is what is asti iti upalabhyate. We will see that in the Kathopanishad also. Asti means what? It is, it is, it is. And that is loses the S. When the is loses the S, what is there? I. It is available as I. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Some prasad is there.